I will turn it over to Diane for her introduction of herself, and we'll get the slideshow started.
Well, thank you for the invite. I understand I helped resolve a cancellation. And Linda and I have been discussing a talk with a different group entirely. So pleased to be with you. And like I say, if you have any comments, you probably have a story or two to share, then that's much appreciated when it comes to mind. So I've I've definitely heard of your group, and I guess primarily what I have um, noted is the speaker series. So here, I have to line myself up here. So my background actually is finance, and I also have acquired a BA in adult education. And I've found that when you get involved with nonprofits, a lot of the time is if you have some skill around finance, then you're welcome to become the treasurer, the fundraiser, for a variety of um, options. And so that's primarily how I've moved around with environmental activities over the last several years, is to be involved with funding of some nature. But tonight, what I just wanted to talk to you about is some topics that have been close to TREA over the last year. So TREA is Thames Region Ecological Association. It's in London. It's been around for 40 years. So this is an anniversary year, and we look forward to that. I actually did a presentation today, and I was doing the slides and so forth, and I just, if I can find someone to help out, I always appreciate that. So it's good to go. So you're going to have the opportunity to have the slides. And so I will kind of zip through them, and some of them I won't get into great length. So when I pause, Linda and I are going to experiment if that works for switching it to the next page. So TREA is involved a lot of the time with residential activity, so personal action, and we also do follow City Hall, but I have, in addition, an involvement with other agencies, and one of them is called Climate Scorecard, which is an international group, and we provide posts once a month on different issues that impact London's or Canada's greenhouse gas emissions. So that's a different audience, and so we've had some interesting topics. Actually, this month I'm writing about the relationship with artificial intelligence and climate change, and what the impacts are there, because actually it does take up a lot of energy. So I'm not one of its greatest followers. So we do a lot of different kinds of projects, and sometimes they're driven by members. Sometimes they're driven particularly by our strategic direction, which is waste and energy reduction and transportation. So to give you an idea of some of the things we've done, this is not everything, because a lot of the projects are also partner projects in a community with other groups. But we did start London's recycling program, which was years ago, and that has obviously evolved to where it is now. And we're thrilled that Green Bin is finally in place. We've done different things around cycling, waste reduction. We did a big campaign in the early 2000s on air quality, which was the first time it had been talked about on a community level. So air quality, anti-idling on vehicles, climate issues, and health. And then there are other topics. You may have walked through Victoria Park and seen eco stations, and that's something that we helped spearhead in the early 2000s. So that still is available. And with Green Bin, it will get expanded. It did for a little while end up that composting was voluntary, but that has changed too. So we're back to where things were when we first started, and we worked with all the groups. Now, I just want to make sure everyone can hear me. Is there any, thing there? We're all
Yeah,
good?
we're good. We're good.
Okay. More recently, we've been interested in urban agriculture, and over the last decade, there's been a lot of conversation around that. So here just shows you, we have a demonstration site for composting. We do a lot of outreach, and this is our little pollinator garden. So people view these. So we're at a variety of events. This is the festivals program, the eco stations. So some places we do composting and some we don't. So when I do a presentation, I like to have a couple of exercises, but I wasn't ready for too many. Here is how I want to start off the conversation about weather changes. And that is, here we have a list of 9 items. And you are to imagine that you have been asked to leave your home. There's some type of emergency, and it could be up to 3 days that you would be gone. And you have 9 items here, and I would like you to pick 3 that you would have that 10 minutes to run around and grab. And I invite you to put in the chat what you come up with. We can glance at it later. So there are 9 items. You can just put number 1, number 5, number 6. You don't have to type them out. So I'll give you a couple minutes to ponder on this. It could be that you have thought about emergencies in the past and you have a bit of a plan for the family or your neighbors as to leaving your home quickly. So we're interested to see what you come up with. So don't be shy to post in the chat your preferences. So we won't take too long, but there's just a nice number of folks on this call, so it shouldn't take too long. And if it seems like you'd like to take them all, then that's understood too. So we'll just give it another minute. So I guess the point we're making here is that not everyone is identifying with the same priorities. And when the situation actually arises, it's hard to say what you'll do. But I know for me, it's definitely a can opener, and my favorite paring knife are on the list.
You must
So
not have pets, Diane.
I do
Oh,
that would be on the list too.
yeah.
Although I happen to have a cat that doesn't like to be picked up. So
Mm,
what can you do?
yeah.
Okay, so thank you for doing that. And um, if you obviously want to read up more, the city has an extensive document on emergency preparedness, which you can check out, which has even more items on it. So we'll move on to the next slide. Now, I'm actually going to turn my camera off because it's going haywire there. I have to upgrade it apparently, and sometimes it starts to flash. So, in talking about weather, um, sometimes I focus on that more so than air quality or climate change because everyone has different observations and opinions about climate change. And hopefully, um, we can agree that the Earth is getting warmer. There is obviously the science behind it, and you'll see here the global surface temperatures are rising, and that last year was the warmest year ever, and that we have to find ways to slow things down and not make it a more chaotic kind of scenario. So we'll move to the next slide. And here it's just sort of the obvious expectation is that as climate changes, the weather changes too, and things are either progressing more hot or um, more unpredictable in terms of weather. So when we look at that imbalance, really it boils down to the fact that the Earth's surface temperature tells us how we are in balance. So, how much sunlight it absorbs, how much heat it radiates back to space. And if we're generating more energy than can be sent out back to space, that's where we get the rising of greenhouse gases and more energy use. So, what we primarily want to look at is reducing greenhouse gases. And we'll just, so we could talk about climate issues in the past, but not really see them. They were more prevalent in the north. I remember a person telling me about bringing home food in the Arctic and it staying frozen till um, they returned to the village. And now it's a case of the whatever it is, whether it's a caribou or something like that, um, they have trouble keeping it frozen till it gets back to their home where they can process it for food. But also, in particular, in the last year, we've seen more floods. We've seen a lot wildfires where they're not found. Drought is an issue and health impacts are rising as well. So it's it's tough when we can't really follow and predict our weather events anymore. And we have to look at what we personally can do. So just to let you know, Canada does have an emissions reduction plan. And more recently, it developed an app. And so that it offers opportunities for people to um, look at ways that they can live with weather changes. So there's two sort of windows, and one is mitigation and one is adaptation. So mitigation is a lot of your infrastructure changes. So things that will actually clear the measurement and tell you what you're doing to try to stabilize climate issues. So, for instance, using renewables and making buildings and vehicles more energy efficient, um, and protecting forests. Those are all um, things that are often moved forward first. And of course, when forests burn, that they're releasing, generating emissions. So that's not a good thing. So with adaptation, it could be as simply as you're not turning on your air conditioner automatically when things warm up a bit, but uh, improvising, or in the winter, putting on a sweater instead of automatically putting the uh, thermostat up, is to like resistant crops and so forth. So this is sort of an encapsulation of even more options, and some of them overlap too. So it's um, not that there's enough things that people will say that, I've done most of this stuff, but I think there's always something else you can find. We did the 1 ton challenge in the early 2000s, and that was a case of, closing your drapes and um, you know um, different things that would help you not have to use as much energy. And of course, the bottom line is you're saving money too, hopefully. So in Ontario, it's interesting because each province does things differently. But this is sort of a summary of what Ontario has in terms of weather impacts, and we have certainly seen them. And then there is the different strategies and plans and policies that come forward. They don't all sort of offset with federal policies, but there are changes that are being made. And I think right now we're noticing, we have a new prime minister. So um, his approach is more directed towards sustainability of the country and resilience. And so there's a lot of economic policy coming forward, and they're meant to be ties to the climate change. I think that there was a thrust of economic issues, and the climate change will follow. So with the changes on a more local level, we have air quality issues, we have pests who actually like warmer weather, and we have some impacts on humans. So where Ontario has its focus is these 5 areas, which include food and agriculture and different themes. And it's interesting because food security has become a very important topic lately. And so people are concerned that the food prices are going up and food is available. There's one thing that we call a food desert, and that's when a neighborhood doesn't actually have a grocery store or a market, and people are sometimes stuck having to go to a variety store to get things where they're usually priced higher. So food security is something in London that has definitely been underway. We've been helping out one neighborhood a little bit near our office, and it's primarily been with fundraising. And they have developed what they call an edible neighborhood. So lots of gardens on the boulevards. They have pizza nights. They have um, a bin where they have people leave food and others take the food. And they do a lot of things to engage growing food. So it's a great project and worth looking at in other neighborhoods. So that's the Kiva neighborhood, if you're interested to see more about it. So when we're talking about all these programs and activities, it's usually not unusual to see targets attached because that is sort of the incentive to get programs working and strategies. So Canada has not done great with their targets, and it's probably that this year they will not change a lot, but there have been changes because programs have been started over the last few years. They take a little while to kick in and show energy reduction. The province, their biggest activity really was the coal plants that closed, and so there hasn't been a major project of that significance since then. And then London has its own targets too. So the challenge, of course, is reaching those targets, and three levels are struggling with that, but they're not past their goals yet. But they have this intention of net zero by 2050. So they have a number of things that are being developed. So hopefully they will get them moving. So this is just a snapshot of some changes in London. And again, they really are primarily weather related. So the fact is that municipalities across Canada have a big impact on emissions, and up to 50% of the emissions are generated in cities. London is one of a number of cities that claimed a climate emergency and is working on their climate plan based on that. So, one of the things the city is focused on, of course, is energy conservation initiatives, and the household does give us opportunities to reduce our energy use. Then, of course, the green bin is operational. It has about a 60% success rate right now. The city also generates community gardens, which are great for people in apartments or situations where they don't have backyards. We have the electric vehicles, which right now they're changing. There was a point where we were expected by 2030 to have to buy an electric vehicle, but at this time the mandates have been changed and expanded a bit. And then, of course, we have opportunities for walking and biking. And this here is an example of a segregated bike lane where people are totally separated from the vehicles. So again, here's another approach to looking at weather as to what the biggest impacts are. And so we have, as to be expected, these are all weather conditions. But I guess one positive out of this is that air quality, which used to be a very big issue because London is in a has improved, but other issues are at the forefront. So it's not the best. So as I understand it, you like to look at opportunities for advocacy. So I'm just going to go through these quickly. They're for you to pursue a review at a later time. So first of all, we have flooding. And so here's a list of things that one can do and advocate for. And then we have storms, so that, there's been increases in storms. We've had tornadoes that come through here, hurricanes. So this is something else that we need to prepare for. So again, here's a list of things for at home and advocacy on primarily a municipal level. And then, of course, we have the extreme heat. So people need to be cautious of that, particularly seniors and vulnerable populations and children. And this is just an overview of London as to, you can see where the heat gets trapped. So it is downtown, it is in the north, west, and east where there are more businesses and more densely covered land in terms of use. So in terms of heat risk, again, the importance at home of, staying hydrated and having your windows shaded and improving insulation and heat pumps and so forth. And then again, more opportunities for advocacy. For instance, a green roof has been listed in London's climate plan, and it's been talked about for a while. So it's time to kick it into action. So in the terms of heat warnings and awareness, this expands on that topic. So, of course, we know that the health unit is a big player in helping to address diseases and asthma, for instance, like respiratory diseases, waterborne illnesses, and a lot of people being worried, scared. Mental health impacts also exist. So these are some of the tasks that they do that we don't necessarily think about, like monitoring, gating, inspecting, controlling some of these outbreaks. But they're a busy agency. And so here I'm just listing a couple of things that we can do at home and sort of stand out and hopefully get our neighbors to see us as mentors. So that includes repairing items and recovering and recycling. And there is a group that we've helped in London called the Repair Cafe, which is run by Reimagine and is very popular. Probably once a month, 50 to 60 people bring something broken. And we have some fixers that try to uh, fix them for free. And they have about a 70% success rate. So the idea of reducing your food footprint is actually one of your greatest opportunities to reduce energy. If we're not looking at food coming from the other side of the continent, we're better to have it local. So again, you can share ideas with the public and with friends and family. It's pretty much a full-time job of making sure your home is sustainable and running as efficiently as possible. And the point here that I want to make is economic growth and wealth do not necessarily indicate advancement. Environmental justice is important, and using finite resources is something on the table right now in Canada and other countries. So just in wrapping up, we're always busy. So outreach is one thing, and the summer festivals coming up, and we have a compost sale soon. We have involvement with Earth Fest, and in the immediate future, we have these 3 workshops, which you're welcome to share with anyone that is an avid gardener or interested in outdoor programs. So that's also on our website, so you can check it there. So that is what